A very good morning. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will travel to Poland on Friday to meet with his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk. The leaders will discuss a new defense and security agreement between the two countries. The new UK-Poland treaty aims to strengthen cooperation between the nations when it comes to protecting Europe from Russian aggression and tackling people smuggling gangs. According to Starmer, the time has come to, quote, take the Polish-British partnership to the next level. He also said that closer collaboration with allies such as Poland will protect the UK's national security. Representatives of the Polish and Vietnamese foreign ministries signed a cooperation agreement in Warsaw on Thursday. The document will be the basis of the country's cooperation for the next 5 years. The ceremonial signing of the Memorandum of Cooperation took place during the official visit of the Vietnamese Prime Minister to Poland. In a statement, the Polish Foreign Ministry said that the document allows for the intensification of bilateral dialogue through the implementation of political consultations, exchange of information, dialogue in multilateral forums, as well as the possibility of joint initiatives in the field of public and cultural diplomacy. The Vietnamese Prime Minister's visit to Warsaw is part of the celebration of 75 years of diplomatic relations between Poland and Vietnam. Iran and Russia will agree to a strategic partnership deal on Friday morning. The cooperation agreement is to be signed in Moscow by Russian President Vladimir Putin and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. The deal covers a 20-year-long time frame and details cooperation in the fields of security and defense. The pact is not intended to create a military alliance, according to Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Tehran and Moscow strengthened ties after the 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine, with Iran supplying Russia with Shahed drones. Finnish military intelligence chief General Pekka Turunen has claimed that Russia, preoccupied with its war in Ukraine, currently lacks the military capacity to pose a significant threat to Finland. According to the official, reinforcing Russian forces near the Finnish border could take years, even after the war in Ukraine ends or is frozen. In a report released Thursday, Finland's military intelligence department stated that Russia is likely to prioritize the northwestern region post-conflict and accelerate military reforms. Russia's ongoing plans include expanding its army to 1.5 million troops and re-establishing the Leningrad military district near Finland. The department noted that achieving this goal amid Russia's demographic challenges would be difficult but not impossible. The report also highlighted Russia's intent to destabilize Finnish society through non-military means and influence NATO policies, particularly regarding alliance infrastructure on Finnish territory. Russia's ultimate goal, the report warned, is to force the West to accept a division of spheres of influence in Eastern Europe, which could have unpredictable long-term consequences. Methane released from the damaged Nord Stream pipelines in the fall of 2022 spread across much of the southern Baltic Sea and lingered for months. Researchers from the University of Göteborg and the Voice of Ocean Foundation reported that the damage caused significant environmental consequences. Scientists estimated 9,000 to 15,000 tons of methane entered the Baltic, with levels 1,000 times higher than usual immediately after the late September 2022 explosion. Elevated concentrations persisted in some areas for months, potentially affecting 23 marine protected zones. Initially, it was believed that gas escaped only near Denmark's Bornholm Island, where leaks occurred. However, measurements revealed methane spread from Denmark's Zealand coast to Poland's Gulf of Gdańsk, covering 14% of the sea, with concentrations up to 5 times above normal. According to U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the Russian sanctions from the Biden administration were, quote, not fulsome enough.
I believe that the sanctions regime, especially, well, first of all, I would say in my adult life, that the tragedy going on in Ukraine is one of the greatest tragedies of my adult life. And ending that as soon as possible, and any role that Treasury can play in that, if confirmed, I would like to do. As we discussed, I believe that the sanctions were not fulsome enough. I believe that I believe that the previous administration was worried about raising U.S. energy prices during an election season.
More children were killed or injured in the first 3 quarters of 2024 than in all of 2023, said UN Chief of Political Affairs Rosemary DiCarlo, briefing the Security Council on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. She emphasized the increasingly brutal nature of the Russian aggression.
Last year, the total number of civilians killed and injured was 30% higher than the year before, according to the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. The increase in casualties among children is particularly distressing. More children were killed or injured in the first 3 quarters of 2024 than in all of 2023. Just yesterday, Ukraine suffered the latest wave of countrywide Russian attacks systematically targeting civilian energy infrastructure. In the last months of 2024, Russia conducted at least 4 similar large-scale coordinated attacks. We condemn such reprehensible tactics which terrorize the civilian population and deprive it of basic services. They must end.
EU Commissioner Maroš Šefčovič assured MEPs that traditional EU products like Polish vodka or Italian Parmigiano cheese will be protected after the implementation of the EU-Mercosur trade agreement. Negotiated over 25 years, the agreement aims to expand South American markets to the EU, despite resistance from EU farmers fearing cheap imports from Mercosur countries like Brazil and Argentina. Šefčovič emphasized mutual benefits, including reduced tariffs that will enhance EU companies' competitiveness. Current tariffs on EU agri-food exports, ranging from 10 to 35%, will be lowered or eliminated, boosting exports of wine, spirits, olive oil, and chocolate. Additionally, 349 EU geographical indications will be safeguarded. The deal sets strict trade limits for sensitive products like beef, poultry, and sugar, and includes a €1 billion fund to support EU farmers if impacted. Moreover, imported goods must meet EU sanitary standards. Moving to the Middle East, Israel's Security Cabinet is set to convene on Friday morning to approve a new ceasefire deal with Hamas. The Security Cabinet will convene in Jerusalem around 10 a.m. local time to approve the deal. Although celebrations over the ceasefire agreement broke out all over the world already, it will not officially come into effect until it is accepted by both sides of the conflict. The deal was signed by representatives of both Hamas and Israel in Doha in the early hours of Friday. But Israel's acceptance of the deal will not be official until it is approved by the Security Cabinet and government. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in Lebanon on Friday for a visit aimed at helping speed up the formation of the country's new government. This is his first trip to the country since 2020. Macron's visit follows an election of Joseph Aoun as Lebanese president on Thursday, ending a 2-war vacancy. France, together with its Armenian and Saudi counterparts, has played a key role in helping break Lebanon's political deadlock. According to the French president's office, the purpose of Macron's trip on Friday is to underscore the importance of Lebanon's sovereignty, as well as to help the country with the introduction of economic reforms that would restore international confidence. SpaceX's Starship rocket lost communication and disintegrated mid-air during its latest 7th test flight. Despite the failure, the first section of the rocket, the Super Heavy booster, successfully landed for the 2nd time, caught by mechanical arms at the launch site. The spacecraft launched at 11:30 p.m. CET from SpaceX's Boca Chica facility in Texas. After separating from the booster and reaching an altitude of 146 kilometers at over 17,000 kilometers an hour, Starship ceased transmitting data 8 minutes into its flight and was declared lost. SpaceX later confirmed an unplanned rapid disassembly. The mission, intended to deploy simulated Starlink satellites into orbit, was cut short before completing its main objectives. Despite setbacks, SpaceX emphasized the test's importance in improving the rocket's reliability, highlighting recent upgrades, including larger fuel tanks and improved propulsion system.
It's going to
news. We just heard the call out for booster.
Film director David Lynch, known for hits such as Twin Peaks and Mulholland Drive, has died at the age of 78, his family has said. A post shared on the filmmaker's Facebook page reads, "It is with deep regret that we, his family, announce the passing of the man and the artist, David Lynch. We would appreciate some privacy at this time." The cause of his death has not been shared, but Lynch had spoken publicly about his battle with emphysema, a lung disease with no known cure due to his past as a smoker. In August, the director revealed that he was diagnosed with the illness in 2020. His death comes just days before his 79th birthday. And with that, we end our service here on TVP World, but please do stay tuned as we're back in just a moment with an interview.